Hi, were you absent today? Do you need a little bit of extra help? Did you miss all those free problems? So this video is just going to go through and kind of show you what we did about triangle inequalities, okay? So here we are on our homepage. Remember, you're going to go click on this week. You're going to go find today. Remember, anything with the star on it is actually a grade, an assignment that you're going to turn in. So the assignment is to do workbook pages 139 and 140. And I'm actually going to give you a couple of free problems in this video. I do want to go through with you really quickly, though, the Google slide that is with it. So if you click on notes, it's going to pop up the Google slide with the notes and stuff in it. So let's go look at this and talk about it real quick, okay? If I go to slide number two, this was the GeoGebra activity that you guys did yesterday. And so basically you were plugging in these numbers and using little sliders and seeing if it built a triangle. So here's what the triangle inequality theorem actually says, okay, and the actual math that goes with it. But it says that if you add any two sides together, it's going to be bigger than the third side, okay? It has to be in order to be a triangle. So if I look at 3, 6, and 7, 3 plus 6, that's bigger than 7. 3 plus 7 is bigger than 6. And 6 plus 7 is bigger than 3. Okay, so any of the two sides has to be bigger than the third. If I go look at the next problem, notice that 4 plus 5, that's not bigger than 9. It's actually the exact same length, so it's not going to make a triangle. Okay. So what do? How do you write that down? So if I look at the next slide, here are two more examples, and this is how you actually write it, okay? So you're actually going to show that any two of the sides is bigger than the third, okay? So you're going to do 8 plus 17, that's bigger than 24. 8 plus 24, that's greater than 17. And then 17 and 24, that's greater than 8. So you actually have to write all of this down, okay? 3 plus 3 is not greater than 7, and it only takes one set to say that, no, it's not a triangle, okay? So I want you to go get your workbook. We're actually going to do number 1 together right now. So here you go, free problem. Okay, so in your workbook, this is page 139. Okay, let's get this light going. So this is page 139. Let's go do number 1 and number 2, okay? So using that same idea, right, any two sides should be bigger than the third. Well, guess what? 5 plus 7 is not greater than 12. So nope, not a triangle, okay? Let's go do number 2. Well, if I check with number 2, 8 plus 10, that is definitely greater than 16, so check. Right? That's 1. 8 and 16, that's greater than 10. 10 and 16 is greater than the other side, which was the 8. And since all of those happened, then yes, this is a triangle. Okay? All right. The other thing that you had to do with your GeoGebra activity was you had to look to see, okay, if I give you two sides like 5 and 14, what's the possible side length of the other one, right? So let's go look at that and how that works. So if you know what two of the sides are and you're trying to find the third one, you're actually going to use addition and subtraction. So on your GeoGebra activity from yesterday, if you take where my mouse is, the top of this triangle, and you moved it down, right? 10, the difference between 18 and 10 on this one is going to be an 8. So you know it has to be bigger than 8, right? If I open this all the way up and lay it down, I'm going to be adding the 10 and the 18. So it has to be a little bit smaller than 28 to get it to work. And how does that work? How do you write that? You write it like this, so that it looks like x is between 28 and 8, okay? Speaking of free problems, or let's go do a couple more. So let's go do number 3, okay? So number 3, the numbers are 5 and 14, okay? And I want to know what's that third side going to be, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to subtract the numbers together. So what's 14 minus 5? Okay, hopefully you said 9. You're going to add the two numbers together. So 14 plus 5, whoops. An ugly looking 5, sorry about that. That's a 19 You're going to put an X in the middle, and then you need to put less than signs. And a lot of times this gets confused, and some people end up putting the wrong symbol in here, or they get them backwards. But if you read this backwards, 9 is less than X. That is the same thing as X is greater than 9. Okay, so those two things are the same thing. Okay, so the symbols do need to be facing the same direction. All right, let's go do it again. So 23 and 35. So again, I'm going to subtract. Okay, 35 minus 23. That's going to give me 12. I'm going to add 23 and 35, and that's going to give me 58. And so my third side has to be between the two. Okay, number 5 and number 6 are going to be exactly the same thing. All right, one more thing to talk about, and that is the last little idea. So GeoGebra activity number 2, this is actually really kind of important. If you want to go in and do this, I'm actually giving participation points. So I know that you were absent, but if you want to go in and do it, I can give you those points. But here's what you're going to discover when you do it, okay? You're going to discover that, and so you can kind of fill in these blanks, but the smallest angle is always opposite the smallest side. The largest angle is always opposite of the longest side. Okay, and then the same thing. The bigger the angle is, right, the opposite side's going to be longer. Okay, if you know that that side is super long, then that means that that angle is going to be super big. Okay, so ordering when you put the sides in order, the shortest side is always opposite the smallest angle. The longest side is always opposite the largest angle. Okay, so what does that look like in your workbook? What does that look like with problems? So let's go do number 7. Okay, so looking at number 7, move this up, get some shadows out of here. Okay. The first thing that I want to say really quickly is that when you list sides, you're going to use lowercase letters, okay? And when you list angles, you're going to use uppercase letters. That's how you distinguish the two. That's what we do in geometry, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go list the sides in order, and we want to go from smallest to largest. So I know the smallest number is 2.4, then 4.7, and then 4.9. Now, that's not going to work. What side is that? What side is 2.4? What side is 4.7? And what side, right, is 4.9? Okay, so that's where you're going to have to, and this is something that you would do in the GeoGebra activities. You would discover this, but here's what it looks like, okay? You have an angle, so angle B is this angle right here. Okay, this is angle B, and the side opposite of angle B is side B. Okay, so let me say that one more time. Here's angle B, the side opposite of it is side B. Okay, here is angle A right here, the side opposite of it is side A. Here's angle C, and the side opposite is side C. So 2.4 is going to be side B, 4.7 is side A, and then 4.9 was side C. So the sides, in order from smallest to largest, go BAC. And then the angles, since you know that side B was the smallest side, it's going to be opposite the smallest angle. Since you know side C is the longest side, it's going to be opposite the largest angle. Okay, so your sides are going to go BAC. Your angles should go BAC as well. Okay. All right, we're going to do one more problem together, and that is number 10. I will tell you when you get to number 9 is going to be just like number 3 and number 4. So you're going to do the same kind of thing with that one. Number 11 is a little bit tricky. You have some options. You can do what we did for numbers 1 through 2, or you can do what we did for numbers 3 and 4. Okay, but number 10, let's talk about number 10 really quick. So number 10, in a nutshell, we've got Betty, and I like to picture her as Betty White. Okay, so we've got Betty White, and she doesn't think there's enough information, basically, to put the sides and angles in order from smallest to largest. She doesn't think she has enough information, but in fact, she does. Okay, and here's how. Remember that there are 180 degrees inside of every triangle, right? So if I take 180 and I subtract 114, I'm going to get 66 degrees. That means that between angle L and angle M, there's 66 degrees right there between the two. Now, one of them might be 65 and the other one's 1. Maybe the other one is 34 and the other one's 32. Okay, they're definitely not the same angle. They're not both 33 exactly, because if they were 33, that would make it an isosceles triangle, and those two sides would be the same side, and they're not. Okay, so they're definitely not both 33. Okay, so one of them has to be bigger than the other, but there's 66 degrees between the two of them. Automatically, right away, we know that 114 is going to beat whatever these two angles are. So your largest angle is angle N, and your largest side is also, or the longest side is also side N. So this side of the triangle over there. Okay, and if you look at it, it's the longest side. Okay, but let's go take a look at the other numbers. So the other numbers, I have 2.5 and 3.2. The one that is the smallest of the two is 2.5. Since 2.5 is the smallest side, that means angle M is the smallest angle. That also means that the 2.5 is going to be the smaller side. Okay, so side M is going to be the smaller side. And since we know this was smaller, we know that angle L is going to be the one that is in the middle. Now, usually we use a capital or a cursive L. Okay, I hope that helps. I hope that helps you make a little bit of sense. It looks like you only have 6 problems to do on your own. Please make sure that you get all of these written down, because if you don't have it, it's not going to count. Okay, last little detail that I wanted to share with you. Keep in mind as well, when you go to turn this in and you're on Canvas, anything with a star means that it is an assignment and it is graded. So if you click on it, the last little bit of directions, you're going to submit one Google Doc with multiple pictures. One Google Doc. Don't send me an email. One Google Doc. Okay? Make sure you do send me an email, though, if you have any questions.